the idea, like we're all familiar with the idea that a news organization that has any amount of monetary gain to be had, and that includes what I do on YouTube, like there's monetary gain to be had here. So, the honest and forefront thing to say is, hey, there are times where I will say things in a way that I think is most appropriate, as opposed to just laying out the facts and just walking away from them. Alrighty, so we've been following what is going on with Tucker Carlson and where he's going. I made the assumption that he was probably going to go independent. That didn't rule out the idea that he was going to be picked up by someone like OAN or Newsmax or literally anybody else. One of the benefits of being Tucker Carlson is that he is one of the biggest names in punditry, even if legally everything he says cannot be taken seriously, because that was one of Fox's defenses for him at one point in time. Isn't it great? But we have figured out where he is going to be doing his new broadcasting from. And let's see what particular brand of that he's going to be doing. With that said, let's get into the fan art section, and then we'll get into everything else. The first one here is from Imperial Winter. Oh, look! There goes chat making another waifu. Yay. And then the fucking... Slime Suris in the bottle. Insert unnecessary waifu here. Schrodinger says, Tucker got an offer from Russia today. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Dude, Russia... Okay, so a long time ago, I did a video... Not a video, but I did a stream where it was like me and Game Apologist reading over the Russian strategy to divide the United States. And using, like, conservative media to divide us on wedge issues was a huge part of their platform. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. But thank you very much, Imperial Winter. This is... It captures about how I feel oftentimes. The next one we have here is from Worthless. I drew Suris meeting Duck from Princess Tutu. I really want to watch the show with someone and see their reactions. I still need to watch Princess Tutu. I liked Madoka Magica, so I assume I'll like Princess Tutu, because it's the same type of, like, magical girl subversion show. But we will see. We will see. With all that said, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the actual topic at hand after you subscribe. Do it! Okay, now that you're done subscribing, let's go ahead and take a look here. Elon Musk has decided to go on his platform and say, on this platform, unlike the one-way street of broadcast, people are able to interact, critique, and refute whatever is said. And of course, anything misleading will get community notes. I also want to be clear that we have not signed a deal of any kind whatsoever. Tucker is subject to the same rules and rewards of all content creators. Rewards means subscription and advertising revenue share, which comes soon, which is a function of how many people subscribe and the advertising views associated with the content. I hope that many others, particularly from the left, also choose to be content creators on this platform. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're left or right to Elon Musk. He just wants you to be able to make him money. That's what he wants. That's what he wants. But let's go ahead and look at Tucker's video.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. You often hear people say the news is full of lies, but most of the time that's not exactly right. Much of what you see on television or read the New York Times is in fact true in the literal sense. It could pass one of the media's own fact checks. Lawyers would be willing to sign off on it. In fact, they may have. But that doesn't make it true. It's not true.
Tucker? No, that's... Okay, so what he's basically just said there is a series of facts can be presented to you, but until it has been spun properly? What? It needs the spin. It needs the spin. Otherwise, it's not the right true. It's not the right flavor of true without his spin.
At the most basic level, the news you consume is a lie of the stealthiest and most insidious kind. Facts have been withheld on purpose, along with proportion and perspective.
Right. That does not necessarily mean... Okay, so hold on. So, in the most basic of senses, yes, everybody who has ever said any story of any kind has, in fact, withheld certain information or given certain information or editorialized certain information. Even if you're just having a story with friends at a bar, you have done something to drum up, to sensationalize what you have said. That's a basic thing. That doesn't make something a lie, for instance. That makes something less than true. That's the thing. Truth isn't necessarily a binary. A statement can have a degree of truth or a degree of falsehood. At a basic level, every statement is either true or false. The reality is sometimes it's complicated. But let's go ahead and see where he's going with this, because so far this is vague. The idea, like we're all familiar with the idea that a news organization that has any amount of monetary gain to be had, and that includes what I do on YouTube, like there's monetary gain to be had here. So, the honest and forefront thing to say is, hey, there are times where I will say things in a way that I think is most appropriate, as opposed to just laying out the facts and just walking away from them. But let's see where he's going. Because right now, this is just the basic people spin stuff.
You are being manipulated.
Yeah.
How does that work? Let's see. If I tell you that a man has been unjustly arrested for armed robbery, that is not, strictly speaking, a lie. He may have been framed. At this point, there's been no trial, so no one can really say.
Wait, hold on. No, that's not how that works. The justice of an arrest, like just an arrest, is based off of speculation. It is based off of having probable cause. Probable cause is what makes something just in terms of just an arrest. Now, we can talk about whether or not the prison system as it exists is just. I don't think it is. We can talk about a lot of things when it comes to the prison system, but when we're talking about just the apprehension of somebody who has done a crime, then the arrest is still justified if there has been probable cause. It's a valid thing to do. It's like pointing out that somebody is valid in their emotions. You might have to point out to somebody, hey, you're literally craving violence. Your emotions are valid. I get that, but like that thing you're doing is wrong. It can be perfectly just to arrest somebody under suspicion that they've done something horrible, but also wrong to arrest them for that thing. Like, let's say that thing is stealing food. It's just to arrest them under probable cause, but it's not fair and it's not right, because if somebody's stealing food, then that's a conversation we need to have about a system, like a failure of a system. But let's keep it the wordplay. Let's keep going.
But if I don't mention the fact that the same man has been arrested for the same crime 6 times before, am I really informing you?
Okay, so, fun fact. This feels awkwardly timed with a recent event that I'm going to have to get into in a little bit. Not today, because today is my first day back from subathon, and a lot of other stuff has happened in the back of the mind. So I'm not going to be getting into it, but there was a killing. There was a killing recently in New York where a man who was known for doing street entertainment, who did have a criminal record, was killed on a subway. And the right is trying to say, like, oh, well, he had a criminal record, therefore it was fine to kill him. It was fine to kill him. That's not what that means. That's not what that means. If you have a criminal record, you have a record of doing things wrong, that does not mean that you were doing things wrong at that point. That information can be completely irrelevant. Pointing out the history of somebody is a perfectly fine thing to do sometimes, but giving that information sometimes is just as manipulative as withholding it. It can change somebody's perspective on whether or not it was okay to kill an innocent man.
No, I'm not. I'm misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing in every story that matters.
And it's a thing that you have done for years. Own up to that.
Every day of the week, every week of the year. What's it like to work in a system like that? After more than 30 years in the middle of it, we could tell you stories. The best you can hope for in the news business at this point is the freedom to tell the fullest truth that you can. But there are always limits. And you know that if you bump up against those limits often enough, you will be fired for it.
Hey, I love how the verbiage that is being used here is very, I wasn't fired from Fox News for trying to subvert it, but that's a thing that someone might hypothetically deal with if they happened to come up against a large organization that might be roughly Fox News shaped. I want them all to burn.
That's not a guess, it's guaranteed. Every person who works in English language media understands that. The rule of what you can't say defines everything.
The rule of what you can't say defines... Oh, no. Hold on. First of all. Barnow, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. Secondly, that's Tucker. That's a little dog whistly. And what I'm meaning to say is that is very close to the statement. Here, let me go ahead and say it in as brief of a way as I can. If you want to know who truly has power over you, then ask yourself, who am I not allowed to talk about? Now, when that statement was said, it was being said about Jewish people by Nazis. That rule of what you can't say does not necessarily have the weight you think it does, unless we're just talking about where it has historically come from. But, you know. So what was the English language dog whistle? American superiority is what it usually comes down to. Kitty said I didn't get my redeem message read out. Kitty of Destruction... Well, it's just a hydrate. Thank you for the hydrate. I don't always read out the messages when it comes to, like, the hydrate. But I do appreciate the hydrate. What did I say? Keep hydrated, Suris. Or Suria, rather. Rock him in. Thank you for the follow.
It's filthy, really, and it's utterly corrupting. You can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter.
The only platform in the world that allows free speech is Twitter. The fucking grift. Oh my god. He's done serving his masters at Fox News, so now he's going to serve his master, Elon Musk. My god. Okay. People who either don't have a fundamental understanding of what free speech actually is or have a deliberate misunderstanding of what free speech actually is usually use that line like, oh, well, free speech is paramount, therefore blah, 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 blah. No, the reality is there's certain phrases, there's certain speech that we all have limits on. We all have limits. Even the most die-hard free speech absolutist has a limit on speech that they are not okay with. And the minute you're like, well, incitement of violence is different. No, it's not! That is your limit, motherfucker. Your limit is the incitement of violence, which means you don't have free speech absolutism. Your limit is at incitement. I have different limits. We all have limits. That's part of being human.
Where we are now. Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets.
You know, like the one that he worked at for years.
See it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. The result may feel like a debate, but actually the gatekeepers are still in charge. We think that's a bad system. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. We'll be bringing some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But for now, we're just grateful to be here. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others. See you soon.
So he's just going to be doing the same thing he's been doing the entire time, but he's moved offices to Twitter. That's what this is. That's what this is. Oi. Don't Don't trust the lying mainstream media. Trust me. I'm gonna be the honest one. I'm gonna be honest. Me, Tucker Carlson. Everyone else is a rube, but me, I am the honest one. That's what's gonna happen. Remember when I said that we're going to get the whole Tucker Carlson unhinged arc? Remember when I said that? Please don't ever forget that. As we move into this new era of Tucker the Cuckered. Rock MN says people are going to start paying the community notes people because they're going to be working full time. I can't wait for everything Tucker says to get, like, brutally fact-checked. Every time. Every time. Like, this is literally just a really overdramatic way of saying, hey guys, I'm doing a vlog. Don't you want to see my vlog? It's very important to see what goes on in my personal life. Meanwhile, that's what I do over on Patreon, so please go subscribe to my Patreon, where I talk about things going on behind the scenes and show videos of my pets. I'm normal. Jesus Christ. Tucker Carlson 2.0. There's where we're going. There's where we're going. That said, everybody, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think we're going to be getting the same old Tucker Carlson we've been getting on Fox News? Or are we going to be getting a more unhinged version like I thought? Also, hello BonBonBerry15. People should go follow BonBonBerry15. They should get a shout-out command. If I blink twice, that means I wasn't compelled to say it, right? So wait, so people are going to pay Tucker Carlson to spread misinformation and people are going to have to correct him without getting paid? Yeah! Now you're getting it. Yeah, you're getting it. You got it right. You got it in one. But, as always, everybody, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, insert end of video tagline here.